Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. World Lupus Day will be observed on May 10 under the theme Make Lupus Visible. President of the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago, Clifford Balgobin, he joins us to discuss the theme and the need for such in our local setting. Welcome, Mr. Balgobin. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you very much for allowing me to join you guys. I'm happy to be here.
Definitely our pleasure having you. Give us a little history of the society. Thank you, the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, sure. The Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago was established by a group of people who have concerns about lupus. It started in 1988, and it was formally legalized or registered in 1990. The founding members are no longer around, but we do have some members that are here with us still in our executive. The purpose of the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago was to educate and bring awareness about lupus. Some people have died not knowing how to manage it. So the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago is here to educate and to bring awareness and also to be as a support system for families and friends who may know someone that has lupus.
And in terms of that last point, family and friends of someone who may have lupus, you have a personal tie to lupus. Care to share with us? Thank you.
Yes, I do. My wife, who had lupus for at least, I just say round it off to 11 years. It started very slowly and then it progressed. However, she was able to thwart it a little bit due to her extreme diet change, exercise, lifestyle changes. However, it still later on take a toll of her life. So I personally aware about a person who has lupus. You have to practice a lot of care, patience, forgiveness sometimes because it affects the brain of the patient. But all in all, you still have to love the person. And there's a lot of care you need to put into it and patience.
And thank you so much for that. And with that in mind, though, over the course of your involvement, 11 years and beyond with the Lupus Society, have you seen changes in technology, attitudes towards detecting and treating and possibly treating with lupus?
Well, I am happy to say that there are doctors now who have been involved in understanding lupus. Previously, there were just a very few doctors. However, we involve a lot of doctors in our seminars, and they themselves do personal study. Yesterday, we had an online session with a doctor, and she is taking the responsibility of doing a research. So I would like people to get on the research. It's on our Facebook page. So that way we can have a wealth of knowledge of what's happening with lupus patients. But through all the years, we've seen progress in reference to knowledge about lupus, and we are very closely affiliated with the Lupus Foundation of America, and there is medical research getting closer and closer to slowing down the effects of lupus. Not eradicating, but slowing down the effect of lupus.
And even before we begin to look at that aspect of it, I want to come back to detection a little bit. Thank you.
Yes.
Is it easier to detect now? Because I can imagine there are just so many instances of individuals simply not knowing. And what is the problem? Why do I feel like this? Why do I need to have this explanation at work again to say why I'm not able to live up to this part of my job description? What is that like from where you sit?
Well, lupus generally affects women between the childbearing age, and they feel some simple symptoms. They feel fatigue. There's a rash on the skin. There's skin irritation. there's a lot of, sometimes it's related to joint pains. And more awareness needs to be done, reference to not just the Lupus Society, but for example, government agencies, private agencies, they need to be on board. And I was happy to see Trinidad had gone the way of having these blue lines for disability people. Now we need to have more awareness about people with lupus because they look normal, but inside it's very, very terrible. So more awareness is important. Reference to people want to know about lupus, and the employers need to practice a little more patience because sometimes when the sun is very, very hot, like these days, the extreme weather, the UV rays are very high, and that could help trigger lupus.
And I'm really glad that you talk about the fact that you may not see anything on the outside. And I think sometimes that is the biggest challenge with regard to certain relationships, certain levels of engagement. But you're looking normal to me. Why are you not doing what you're supposed to do? And even outside of a place of employment, I can also see that happening in a family setting where you wonder why, and there's these kind of conversations.
Yeah, there were times my wife at that time, well, she died eventually in August, unfortunately, August 2010 and 2020. But there were times where she couldn't just go outside and lime, as we would say. For us to go to the beach, we had to go when the sun is setting because the UV rays would, influence the lupus flare. Something like medications you try to get rid of because even though the medication helps with the lupus, medication do has its side effects. So in a society perspective, even our friends will say, why don't you come out? Why do you wear all that clothes if you do come out? Big hats, long sleeve, and it also is a relationship issue involved with friends and family when you have lupus.
Understood. And was it something that was diagnosed within a short period of time? So, okay, well, I'm feeling this way, and then I go get checked, and then I find out? Or was it something that took us some time, so the issue wasn't known for a while?
Oh, I love that question you asked because I remember my wife and I, we went on a fishing excursion. We spent all the day outside. That was in 2006. When we came back, we feel like our skin was on fire for at least a few days. I got cooled off, but with her, it was different. So she thought, maybe the body just responded. And after 3 or 4 months, she had to go and see a doctor because it was terrible. And the doctor, he said, let's do a blood check. Thank God we have, the insurance that can cover the blood check. And simple things like the C3 complements, she needs to check. And when they checked that, there were signs of a flare happening in her body. So those who are not sure, the best thing is to do a simple blood check for your C complements. The doctor will actually prescribe that for you.
And we continue the conversation when we return, actually looking at ways in which the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago is able to offer assistance, support to individuals and possibly persons around those individuals in terms of their support circles. But we do that speaking with Mr. Clifford Balgobin, President of the Society, when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. We are speaking with President of the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Clifford Balgobin. And Mr. Balgobin, in terms of, yes, we have some history of the society, but today, around this time, May 2023, what are some of the things that the society offers to individuals? Someone says, okay, I need to reach out to the society for this. What is that thing?
Okay, great. I'm happy that you asked that question. ever so often we have people communicating with us through our WhatsApp group, first of all, through our WhatsApp group. And you can communicate through us at 393-9950. So there's this WhatsApp group that we have where you can get that mental, psychological support with other lupus members. You think you're going through you think you're going through it alone? No. They are similar men and women who are going through similar situation. They can relate with you and give you advice. Secondly, we have our Facebook page uh, where we give some counseling through Messenger. Uh, we also have online free sessions. You don't have to pay for it. It's online free sessions where you meet a doctor online. Certainly, if you go and try to meet these doctors privately, you have to pay, but you meet them online where we have a one-on-one interaction. They can share answers to questions that you ask. But you just have to be with us, and we will update you guys when we have this online session. We had one just yesterday, and the doctor talked about lupus and your mental health. That is a very important one. So we give that type of support. We don't give financial support because we don't want people depend financially, and but we do give the support of information. We give the support of psychological help. We give the support of just being in a group that speak the same language. That's the support that we give.
And that speaking the same language, I think, is so important. But you said something, because on the first side of the conversation, you spoke about mainly women, and now you're saying men as well. Is that what are the figures like in terms of ratio? Is it 7-3, or what is that like with regard to men
It's
having
like
lupus?
90% are women and 10% are men. I think it's growing more, but the men don't speak out. The men who spoke out, who contacted the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago, I say kudos to you guys, right? And they are in our WhatsApp group to make a few comments. They share their ideas, but it's 90% women between their childbearing age. Men, it's not about the childbearing age. It's more about, I guess, it's happened through all their life. Okay, and I have to say they are managing well reference to some of the treatments, because some of the medication they can get it online by buying, or they can get it at the government pharmacies as well.
And that's one of the things I wanted to ask about, because I can imagine, I can see the potential for men saying, okay, well, this is something that you normally find in women, so I don't want to talk about it. I feel a piece of stigma like that already before even reaching out for treatment, and that also speaks to the mental aspect of it. So what are some of those things? What is the 2 or 3 of the main points that came out of that engagement that you all had in terms of lupus and mental health that you really hope that people come away with?
Yes. The first thing they get is anxiety. You know, what's happening to me? Why I can't have the abundant life as a young person? Why do I have to be in bed all the time? Why do I have to take all this medication? And it leads to depression, and they feel tired. They don't feel to go to work. The employer now will say, well, you can't stay away from work so often. So the lupus mentally, it takes a toll on you. You feel like society has outcast you. Many years ago, when AIDS was the big thing, and then people didn't want to drink from the same fountain, the water fountain, from those who have AIDS. They didn't want to touch those who have AIDS. However, due to prolonged education, people are aware now, and people with AIDS are in society as normal. Similarly, as lupus patients, this is a little different. The body pains, the anxiety, the depression, the tiredness, the joints getting purple, uncomfortable, you know, those are some of the things that we spoke about yesterday. And how can we help? Well, pay them a visit, simple call, see how you can help, make something for them, give them a warm towel or something, because it's all about the joints. and just be a moral support for them. Don't look at them as strange or anything like that. It's just the whole wolf aspect inside them raging because the immune system is on auto drive.
What are some of the biggest challenges you think are still around existing, Mr. Balgobin? We have about 3 minutes, so I want to asked that question as well as upcoming activities that the society has in plan.
Yeah. Well, one of the big challenges is the research. We need more people to do research for us. You know, if we're able to do more research, doctors will be better equipped with information and approached it more scientifically. You know, so that's one of the biggest things. And the second thing is that the society needs help from people to give us support. We're not talking about financial help, we're talking about hands help. We need more people. You know, our society is generally full of lupus patients. I don't have lupus, thank God. I don't have lupus, and I do as much as I can. But we need more people to help support with physical activities.
Definitely. And in terms of those activities, do you have any coming up trying to make lupus visible? We know that the day is on May 10. Are there any other things that you have in train that we can look forward to or we possibly individuals can support?
Well, what we can say on May the 10th, let's pop. What I mean by let's pop, P-O-P, let's put on purple as a silent message that we are making lupus aware that it's recognized. There's something called lupus. That's a simple gesture. Wear something purple, P-O-P, put on purple. Reference to other programs, we are planning other programs with our executives. The challenge we have is to just get people to support us because, you know, it's more outdoor programs. And the sun is very hot these days.
It is.
So for the time being, for the time being, we are doing online sessions.
All right. We want to thank you so much, Mr. Balgobin, Mr. Clifford Balgobin, President of the Lupus Society of Trinidad and Tobago, giving us some information that we can go forward with, inspiring us to wear that piece of purple on the 10th, making lupus visible. And on behalf of the entire TGT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth with me. Thank you so much for joining us.